Yeah, that's right. They shoot the box with that handgun. Hey guys, your favorite lawyer, Seth Fuller here. Today I wanted to talk about an educational video. Make an educational video out of another educational video. The video in question is the third glitter bomb pirate porch video from YouTube sensation and former NASA scientist Mark Rober. So look, if you're one of the 150 awesome, super intelligent, really good looking subscribers to our channel, or one of the two people who are watching this video, chances are you know who that is and you probably already watched that video. However, if you haven't, you should go right now, subscribe to Mark Rober's channel. He's really interesting, way more interesting than I am. And he has this awesome video. He's got 3 of them. This is the 3rd installment. Now, if you didn't just go watch that long video, well, if you did, you probably didn't make it back. But if you haven't watched the video, I'll explain to you what it is. Mark Rober puts packages on porches that are actually glitter bomb and fart spray devices that record, and he basically booby traps packages for package thieves, and then hilarity ensues. And hilarity does ensue, and it's a fun video to watch, but really the second time I watched it, it just was tragic. And here's why. I'd like to explain why. How is a glitter bomb fart spray tragic? Well, because I'm a juvenile attorney and I'm a criminal law attorney. And so what I found with this video is a perfect example of how basically poverty perpetuates itself and leads to terrible results. Now, before I get into any of that, I'll get into the basic legal aspects of these videos. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is, while Mark Rober makes it this glamorous, fun, revenge thing, theft is a crime in any jurisdiction you go to, any place in the world, any place across America. Now, the degrees of punishment and the degrees of what monetary values equals what punishment and how much trouble you can get in all differs from state to state, from city to city sometimes. But here in Texas, theft is based on value in general. And so under $100, you get a ticket. It's a Class C misdemeanor. You're going to show up to a city municipal court and you don't face any jail time, just a fine of up to, I believe, $500. If it's above $100, now it's a Class B misdemeanor. You're going to be facing up to 180 days in jail and up to a $2,000 fine. If it's $750 to $2,500, you're going to be looking at a Class A misdemeanor, up to a year in jail, $4,000 fine. And then above that, it gets to state jail felony until it's $30,000. And then you get into the serious felonies. Now, what you have to know is that this recently in Texas, they made porch pirating a bigger crime. So they made it a mail theft. And if you steal something that went through the mail or through UPS or through FedEx and take it off somebody's porch or from somebody's mailbox or wherever, you are going to face a harsher sentence no matter what the value is, even if it's a $2 little trinket, because you usually don't know until after you steal it, right? Even if it's a $2 trinket, you are going to face a Class A misdemeanor. That's that 1 year in jail. And if you do more than 10, it's automatically a state jail felony. So you're going to be facing at least 2 years in jail. So they did this starting 2019, and many jurisdictions are doing that just based on this, and maybe even based on this video. I believe his first one was about around that time, but this is a serious problem and you're looking at serious consequences. So I want you to keep in mind as we do this, that every one of these people is facing serious consequences. Now let's talk about these values. What would this be? Now this package has 4 cell phones. I imagine they're each about $300 a piece or something like that. Now you're up to $1,200 plus all this custom computer boards and stuff, you're certainly, no matter what, in my opinion, looking at least a Class A misdemeanor. Since they took it off the porch in Texas, it would be a Class A misdemeanor regardless. And at least one of these people seemed to have been doing a lot of porch theft or car theft. One was taken from a car. Now that's burglary of a vehicle. Man, you just get these crimes that add up. And I want to say that because Mark Rober isn't the only one who has expensive packages. Police, believe it or not, are setting people up with stuff like this. And what they always do is put something of felony value in the package. Well, why? So when you steal it, because you don't know what you're stealing, the police put something of felony value, something small but of high value, so that when you steal it, you are automatically looking at serious prison time, so that they have the upper hand in all negotiations from that point on. This is a very old tactic. Since the beginning of police work, they've done stuff like this. So you should be careful, because it might not be a glitter bomb. It might be a diamond ring that the police have attached a tag to that they've been tracking, and while you're opening it, instead of a glitter bomb coming out, the police are busting down your door and putting guns in your children's faces. You have to know that's a possibility. It really is, because it's now a felony level. They get a little more leeway in how violent and crazy they get and what they can do to stop the crime from happening or to catch the person who committed that felony. So be careful when you're doing this. And of course, the bottom line is, don't steal. It's just that easy. If it's not yours, don't have it. Deal with what you got. Be happy with what you got. You won't have to worry about any of this. But now let's talk about what I observed that made me kind of sad. We're going to start at the part where they've already picked the item up, stolen the item off the porch, and we're going to go from there.
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Surprise.
And at this point, I'm like, how is no...
So the first thing that I noticed was they show this guy's complete face. And I think he's the only one. I'm pretty sure he's the only one out of all the videos where they showed his face. And what that means is that this guy signed a waiver to be put on YouTube, to be flashed around YouTube, for all to see and know he's a porch pirate. To me, that's just absolute craziness. And why that is, well, you're telling me that they can't show anybody else's face? No, you can show it. This is his video. They picked up his package. Legally, I would say he's in the clear to show it, but nobody wants to even mess with that. Nobody wants to mess with lawsuits, expose themselves at all. So without a waiver, they're going to blur out the face. Same thing with cops. Generally on cops, they go back and have everybody sign a waiver or they blur their face. This is how it works, just so you don't have to deal with lawsuits that you may win, but you're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars on great lawyers like my partner Naval Patel, who does our civil side. And it's just going to be a waste when you can either blur it out or get them to sign a waiver. That means to me, this people signed a waiver, which is crazy. But over here is what I wanted to talk about. There's a little baby. These people are parents, and they're stealing stuff, and they're bringing it back to their house. There is that countdown. If it was a bomb and exploded, you would, injure people. And just maybe if it was a malicious person that could be spraying something else besides fart spray, it's just very disturbing. And that's the first one I noticed a kid. I said, oh man, there's a little kid, and they're showing her face. Maybe she'd be recognized in the future. I don't know, but it's just sad. It's just sad to me. And then I just kept watching. And sure enough, in the next scene, you had another baby about the same age. And, well, there's some more faces. So, again, if it's not blurred, generally that means they signed off on waivers, which is crazy. But I guess if you know you're going to be on a YouTube video, millions of views, you're going to do it. So, there's another kid. And I just thought, geez, these parents, terrible parents, right? But terrible people with kids. How about that? Because I don't know. They may be a great parent otherwise. It's hard to believe, but there you go. Then we got these people. And I mean, you just gotta listen. You just gotta see it to believe it. All right. So
You You guys give up or you're thirsty for more?
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hold on. We just opened the lucky package and it was glitter and fart spray.
I told you.
I'm so
See, this is it's hilarious. It's hilarious that you have your that's a little girl between 9 and 13, definitely old enough to know what's going on, definitely is privy to what's going on. She didn't think her parents bought this. She knows her parents stole this off the porch, and she's going to watch her parents deal with the luckily low but hilarious repercussions of their crime. But she knows what's going on, and dad is angry, not that his daughter knows that they're stealing, but that there's fart spray around, and get that out of here. Maybe they're gonna get in trouble. I'm sure dad's thinking about that, because it seems like mom thinks it's hilarious to steal stuff off of people's porch, to commit what is almost certainly in this case a felony. Man, it just makes me so sad for that little girl. I'm sorry if I assume it's his or her gender. I'm just going to go off it. Maybe it's a boy, but regardless, that young child, man, it just breaks my heart. And, but it gives me job security, because these people, and probably, unfortunately, that young child are eventually going to end up in my or another criminal defense attorney's office and be asking for help in representing them for stealing. Because do you think that lady learned her lesson? She didn't seem like it to me.
The police showed up to arrest this guy who lived there.
So now we skip to, like, we can go through this video and go through the stages. We had a couple little babies, couldn't tell what was going on, but were exposed to the possible repercussions of these thefts. And then we get to here.
This teenage kid comes out and grabs the box, literally walking past several police officers in the process.
I'm gonna steal a package in front of the cops.
Nobody saw you, dude.
Said, this is a teenager, and they say teenager sounds on the lower end of teens to me, saying, we just stole a package in front of the cops. And she says, nobody saw you. The mom says, nobody saw you. And the teenager makes her promise that he's not get caught for stealing something.
And they're not even paying attention to that. They're going to take care of whatever.
They're not even paying attention to that.
I need to cut this up and get rid of it. Here, we're gonna.
She talks about disposing of it, flushing which is a ridiculous thing. Nobody's gonna come search her, but she's telling him how to assuage your guilt and make sure you're not getting caught. More importantly, then he says, "If you missed that,
I need to cut this up and get rid of it.
It feels good.
it feels good
Stealing.
stealing."
Don't brag about it. Nothing.
Then she says stop, and doesn't say it's not good to steal. She says don't brag about it, nothing. She's teaching him again how not to get caught.
Because you know the kid, he would have taken this.
Then she excuses it.
Can I have the buds?
We'll talk. This is my Christmas present.
Then he says, can I have the earbuds? Because it looks like there's 2 packages. And she says, this is my Christmas present. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being a teenager in that household? Look, this is what I'm talking about. These are people in your community, in my community. And this is a teenager. And I can tell you that I have represented clients whose parents have sent them to steal, and who, when the child gets caught, throws them under the bus. There is no doubt. And I have represented parents who I strongly believe that, but couldn't prove it. And I've represented parents who I have proved it. I've represented CPS parents who got in trouble for that sort of thing. My point is, this is happening everywhere, and it's one of the saddest thing. And it goes from these parents who steal with their little kids, and then when they start growing up, they've been exposed to the stealing their entire life. And I'll just tell you this is a generality. There are people who steal their little rich girls and at Nordstrom's who have a credit card that their parents let them use, who steal. But for the most part, as a general rule, the people who commit this kind of crime are going to be impoverished. They're going to be poor, on the lower end of the income spectrum. And it's not everybody poor, don't get me wrong. Again, Mark Rober talks about this in the video. Even among the impoverished, you have 90% plus of people who are honest and hardworking, but you have this small percentage who commit these crimes with their children. You are not going to find this almost at all in the richer communities of parents and teenagers and young children committing crimes together. It's so rare. But in the impoverished community, that's where you're going to see this type of thing, and you do see it. And how are we supposed to, what's this teenager supposed to do? I mean, that's the conundrum. I don't take responsibility off of anybody. And this teenager and this parent, I guarantee you probably already has, the parent especially, or will face some sort of criminal charges for their theft and just general scumbaggery. But look, what is this teenager supposed to do? What are we supposed figure out that this is bad, even though their parent is encouraging them and telling them how to get away with it, and they've been raised thinking that this was normal and the right thing and that everybody does it. That's what they're supposed to do. This goes on every day, all throughout society. It's a huge part of my practice and any criminal attorney's practice is this systematic, self-feeding propagation of immoral behavior and general lack of concern for other people and wanting to get over just for yourself. And parents teach the children, and then the children grow up. And here's the bad part. Here's the worst part. This isn't where they stop. And this is where I get, man, Mark Rober hit it on the head. When you really watch this, after you get over the fun of it and kind of the good, schadenfreude of seeing these people get glitter all over them and everything, you get to the real meat of it. When you really look at it, it's a perfect illustration of what happens. Because later in the video, we run into these guys.
5 seconds total for them to smash the window, grab the box, and just be gone.
I don't know what this is. Brand new though.
My buddies in the field followed them for a bit in case they were just going to toss it out the window until we heard this.
Following the PD's coming. That's why we left Clan. That's why I was moving quick, because the PD was coming. I got a gun in the car. I don't got time to be driving around the city.
At that point, we just...
Yep, there's a group of guys, got a gun in the car, they bust a car door open, and then they travel around the city, jacking cars and stealing stuff off of porches, committing felonies with a handgun. Not only committing felonies with a handgun in the car, but then this is the reaction when he sends them a message.
And then I could listen near real time as the clips were uploaded to the server.
You can go ahead and open me, and you can have everything inside. We'll call it even.
I can bang you.
Yeah, that's right. They shoot the box with that handgun. Now, how did these people get to this? It's just a bunch of true scumbags riding around with a gun, stealing stuff. That's terrible. That's horrible, right? Well, yes, and I don't give them any excuse for it. But at the same time, we can not excuse it and not let them off the hook for it. But we can at least understand through the rest of these videos the possibility that maybe one of these guys or all of these guys were raised in this system where their parents were showing them that stealing from people was okay. And criminals like that comprise such a small part of our society. But I would guess they're probably the same small part of our society whose parents from the very beginning are teaching them that immoral behavior and general scumbag behavior is okay. So can we give them a pass for carrying a gun around, putting people in danger, stealing stuff from people, breaking car windows, and just generally endangering the public with very violent behavior? No, we can't. But we can understand we can really take a deep look into how these guys get to where they think that's appropriate behavior. And maybe we can address it. If we understand it, we can figure it out and help reduce it to as low as possible. And with videos like these and things like these that we would never see, there is no way we would ever discover any of this if it wasn't for this weird, wacky video. But we have to acknowledge that this weird and wacky video gives us a view into a world we wouldn't see, and that the prevalence of children in that world of theft and general criminal behavior is filled with children who are going to turn into adults one day, and some of them, maybe even a big portion of them, are going to turn into criminals. So through this, maybe through the internet, through knowledge, through education, maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel that we can at least get to the source of it, figure it out, figure out who it is, and figure out a solution for it. I don't know. But regardless, you should know about it. And here's what's most important. I want you to consider this when you're dealing with people who might be in these systems, when you're dealing with people of poverty who might have been raised this way, when you're on a jury, maybe even for a juvenile, and you're deciding whether to throw the book at them or get them treatment. Just have this in mind. Know that this is happening. Know that it's not some crazy outlier. Know that this is something that is systemic and systematic, and that there is deep roots to it. And through knowing that, I think you can be a good juror, and most importantly, a good citizen. And by all being good citizens, we can keep reducing crime lower than we already are. And I want to thank Mark Rober for giving everyone a bird's eye view, a peer into something that we wouldn't otherwise run into at all, because these people aren't volunteering themselves and we would never see them. Anyways, that's my 2 cents on the glitter package, the third glitter package installment. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was educational, and I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all have a good one.